Folks, good morning, good afternoon. It is the Earthmaster back here on this Friday. Finally a Friday. Completely forgot it was Friday. All right, July 21st, 2023. It's about 11:40 a.m. here, California time. And latest movement here on the Earthquake 3D globe looks like a 3.9 coming into the area just around the, somewhere down into the southern edge of the Middle America Trench here. It looks like maybe potentially off the coast here of Costa Rica or the Nicaragua area. That is from the EMSC. Smaller quakes shown up here on the globe. USGS only reports most of the time 4.0 and above international. All right, notice that cluster of earthquake activity again up against the Middle America Trench. Watching that pretty closely. We have seen some rather large earthquake activity here recently. We go back the last 30 days or so. We have seen two separate areas of interest with a couple large quakes in each cluster. The latest one was 6.5 just offshore into the section here of the Middle America Trench, about 70 kilometers deep. Now a little bit further up north, but earlier this month we've seen a 6.3. That one about 35 kilometers deep. So this area along the Middle America Trench definitely showing some heightened movement here. Historical data, I want to bring this up here and show you guys. I'm going to search out the earthquake catalog, and we are just going to go 6.5 and above. I want to check out historical data since about the year 1000. Even though that's not really going back that far. I mean, USGS has a guesstimate on what took place there, but who knows? I want to check out this area, the Middle America Trench, see what we can get here for large-scale movement. It's very interesting to pay attention to these swarms when they're in a major subduction zone. Look at all that activity right here. Quite a bit. There's the latest quake, 6.5. That's what I pulled up, 6.5 and above. I didn't pick up the other one. That was a 6.3. But check out these largest magnitudes here. 2007 here in the Middle America Trench, or 2017, excuse me, in 8.2. I think I remember that one pretty well. Pretty good shaker out there into the Middle America Trench. Also in 8.0, a little bit further up north here into the northern segment of the Middle America Trench back in 1928. So, when was our last 7 out here? When was our last 7-pointer? There's one in 1978. I guess we could just do this here real quick. Go up here, newest. Acapulco, Mexico there. That's a little bit further up north, though, away from, it's still associated with the Middle America Trench, but not specifically in the major subduction zone area. That was just a couple years ago. There was a 7.4 within that same area, 2021 as well. 7.2 up in that northern edge. I'm more concerned with this. 8.2. So it looks like maybe 2017. Looks like 2017. Either way, as we can see, it doesn't take a lot of time to produce some large earthquakes here across the Middle America Trench. We'll just continue to watch that, considering all the activity we've seen here over the past couple weeks, and also the continued clustering going on across this area could be pointing to something a little bit bigger taking place here in this region. That, along with the movement over here around Puerto Rico and the Puerto Rico Trench area, leads me to believe that there's still quite a bit of strain up here against the Middle America Trench, so we'll watch that for some further movement potentially down into the South America region. Some 4s and 5, 1 5 at least in there into the South America region here. Oh yeah, that's right. USGS downgraded that to a 4.7 yesterday. Latest quake though, 4.3 off the coast of Central America. Shows here on the divergent boundary of the Cocos Plate and the Nazca Plate. This is the Nazca Plate, the bigger of the two plates here. And this region, for the most part, is a divergent boundary. That's taken place right around here. Now it's a separation of the seafloor, so to speak, and that should add further strain up along, or down along here, of the South America region. But also, That could be why we're seeing that elevated activity along the Middle America Trench here recently. With this divergent activity. So I'll continue to watch that. Puerto Rico today, let's see, one earthquake or a couple after midnight. It looks like a couple more twos, but this area here has been of high interest recently with all the movement taking place around it over the past 30 days. Seen quite a bit of, well, we've seen large-scale movement just off the plate boundary, well inland. Well, definitely away from the plate boundary. That's a good sign of some strain building up here, specifically along the Puerto Rico Trench. But far as 30 days and above, you'll see this large clustering over here across the Puerto Rico area. And this is very common due to the troughs that the area sits on, or sits around between. But been watching the swarming area here up against the Puerto Rico Trench lately. And yeah, that's definitely a major player in potentially producing a larger scale earthquake, so we'll watch that. Alaska area, not a whole lot happening today. Looks like 3 measly earthquakes there of 2.5 and above. The rest of the movement, some small microquake activity. All right, let's not skip the states here, see what's going on outside Seattle. 2.4. Looks like this earthquake coming in just a couple hours or so ago. Now that is 46 kilometers deep. Now remember, there has been some tremor activity. Let me show you guys the tremor map here from yesterday, up around the Seattle area, and I think even the day before that there was some movement up there as well. So getting a little bit of the subduction going on here across the northern edge, and that's probably middle section, close to the middle section of the Cascadia subduction zone. That earthquake down there where tremors normally take place, so a little bit of stuckage going on down into the tremor regions. We'll watch out for some enhanced tremor activity later tonight when that map comes out. All right, California, Northern California, pretty spotty here. I don't see anything popping off here on the Petrolia station. A lot of times you'll see little spikes showing up here near Petrolia, and that's here in Northern California, and it never really makes the map. So we know there's activity going on up here, although today it looks fairly quiet. I'll try to pinpoint it next time something like that happens, but I'm sure the people watching the live stream have seen Petrolia, show some earthquake activity with nothing showing up until maybe a day or so later. And that's due to the fact could be the weekend, could be out of hours, the office hours there at the USGS. Sometimes it takes a human to look at that data and publish it to the earthquake catalog book here, or site, not really a book. All right, moving on. Let's see what we got for 2.5 and above. Ooh, nothing. Of course, you guys know what that means, right? Activity working its way westward, and that will continue to work its way westward until we see a little bit of halting going on there across the western Pacific. No major swarms going on, no major unusual activity. We had one earthquake here just an hour or so ago, a couple hours ago, on the Brawley seismic zone at 1.2, but no swarming taking place currently. Yellowstone National Park, nothing showing up. So let me go over to Yellowstone here and see what's going on. See, even this area has a little bit of smaller earthquake activity. That's going to be these little peaks right here. Those are indeed earthquakes. I noticed them showing up here lightly across the other seismograph stations, and as you can see, nothing showing up here for Yellowstone currently. Some of this activity there in Idaho is from yesterday, one from this morning, but those are too small to even show up across the Yellowstone area. So a lot of times nobody really wants to look at them unless there's a major swarm going on. Then that will key up the interest of the USGS. But for now, things look pretty quiet up there, aside from those little small, very small microquake movements. Texas, down here south of San Antonio, been pretty active here recently. In a couple different spots. Today's activity near Smiley, Texas. What do you guys think sits out there? Oil fields galore. I need to have an echo on the end of this microphone when I said that. That'd be kind of cool. All right, what do you guys see? What is that? Way down there on the surface of the earth. Those are not campsites, but those are indeed oil pumps and operations out here. This is a major oil field with, you see those tanks sitting out there. And I'm sure there's some wastewater disposal ponds out there as well. Either way, that's where this activity is kind of kicking up here today, with a couple twos there near Smiley, Texas. I guess if you got oil rights, you are definitely, like that word smiley, because I'd be smiling too if I owned a whole bunch of oil field rights. All right, what else we got? Checked out South America, New Zealand. Anything going on out there in New Zealand? Guess it's getting fall time, almost winter time down there. That'd be kind of odd to fly from the northern hemisphere down to the south. Totally different seasons. That'd be kind of cool one of these days. Earthquake activity from yesterday, it looks like those threes were coming in my time last night when I did an update. GeoNet servers, let's go ahead and refresh this drum map. This is the drums across the New Zealand area. There's some of that activity from yesterday, which was about 16 hours ago. But as far as recent activity, I would say it is awfully quiet there across New Zealand currently. Not a whole lot showing up, even on the microquake scale. All right, well, it is kicking up here. Notice that westward movement across the plate boundary. Also some further activity across areas of the Middle East. We'll get to that here in just a second. But chiming in on movement here across Indonesia, we've definitely been watching a cluster of earthquake activity here yesterday, and it looks like that's continuing today. More positioned along the Java Trench, which we were expecting. And the Western Pacific plate up here across Japan, only a handful of smaller quakes. But the momentum and the strain further crunching this area. That's where we're seeing the most buildup right now. 4s, 2s, 3s. There's that migration across the Java Trench that we had mentioned. We'll continue to watch that. One thing, look at that 3.3 coming in right now as we speak, right? Spoke that one right into existence. I really wish I could have done that with the lottery numbers the other night, but that, it just didn't happen. Did not happen, but one person did. Goodness. All right, hopefully they use it wisely. Little bit more broad-scale activity here today across this region, as we can see on the Earthquake 3D globe. USGS reporting a handful of it. India, Iran seeing some elevated activity as well from yesterday and today. This is all cluttered around the plate boundary, Turkey and Mediterranean. One area I think that should show some elevated activity here soon is across the Mediterranean Sea area and regions across the potentially the strait right here just off the coast of Morocco area, Algeria. So watch that for some further movement. Normally does kick up with the Atlantic Ocean showing a little bit of activity and that westward migration here. Eventually this has to play a little bit of catching up. Let's see here. The Atlantic, like I said, there's a couple up here, but that's kind of from yesterday, if I remember right. The 4.4 from yesterday. Well up north, off the coast here of Greenland area from yesterday. All right, Big Island of Hawaii. Anything going on out here? Doesn't look like it. This is our calm spot for now. Did see some activity up here around Mauna Loa yesterday, but this is well underneath the area. No major swarms that could indicate, some recharging of the system here. Just right now, it's very quiet. Everything's very quiet with the volcanoes there. I'll give a quick glance at the Hawaiian Volcano Observatory. Kilauea, a weekly update, and this was just put out a couple days ago. Currently not erupting. It paused back on June 19th. Lava is no longer flowing on the crater floor, and no significant changes have been observed at the summit or in either rift zone over the past week. So, looks like seismicity over the past week was at background levels, and tilt deformation has been stable. No earthquake swarms, no inflationary tilt, no higher than normal gas measurements. Things are just calm for now. We'll watch this. Normally, if it's going to stir back up, we'll see an earthquake swarm kind of trigger it all. But it's calm for now. All right, space weather. Is that really weather out in space? I guess it is. calm. Look at that. Pretty much flatlined here over the past couple days after all that elevated activity, stretching down into the B flare category. I mean, that's really calm conditions. We talked about that last night, how all of these look fairly stable. Let's look at them today and see what's going on. Yeah, I'm looking all over, and I'm trying to find something here that may be of interest to talk about, but there's many sunspots here on the Earth-facing side of the sun, but they're all stable. The magnetic structures that they harbor are just that. They're stable. Maybe this area right here, we'll continue to watch this region for some flaring, but I don't see anything noteworthy to chat about. These are really cool to look at. I did buy a solar filter for my Zoom cam, my Nikon, and it's really cool. I'm going to try and do a video today. Look at the sunspots, but you got to make sure you have a solar filter designed for looking at the sun. That's the only thing that you can see. You can't see a bright light. You can't see anything. That lens is specifically designed for looking at the sun, so it doesn't damage your camera. It's pretty cool, though. Can't wait to use it during the eclipse coming up here in October. I'll be out live streaming that. It's for the, what do they call it? The Ring of Fire eclipse. And I'll be right there in the path where it will look exactly like a ring in the sky. Ring of Fire. All right, let's see. You got anything major heading our way? Doesn't look like it. Right now, this shows 99% chance for a C flare, M flare at 45, X flare around 5. I believe these are just slightly elevated and just left over from the events that we were looking at there a couple days ago. But pretty stable right now, folks. There's not a whole lot of potential flaring going on. No major space weather events, no major incoming CMEs, and that's about it. We are going to be cooking. It's already 100 degrees out, folks, here where I live. Just looked at my weather thermometer here. 100.2. 32% humidity, 64 degree dew point. Guess what it is here in the computer room? 58 degrees. Kind of freezing in here. But I like keeping it cold. The equipment and everything needs to be on the cooler side. Less stress on the computer and everything else I have in here. Yeah. 113 expected today here in Chico. Willow's 115, Maxwell 115. We're underneath kind of an influx here of a northerly wind that's going to, it's not really dry out. 31% humidity, 63 degree dew point. It can be drier, but we got a little bit of the northern wind here creating some hotter temperatures here around the Sacramento Valley. And I think that's the forecast here for tomorrow as well. Let's check that out. Yeah, 115. Yeah, identical for tomorrow. So these next couple days are going to be brutal before a slight cool down. Slight cool down, right? That's our cool down. 107. There you go. The weather's great out here in California. Come on out. If you like sunshine and Death Valley conditions, come on out. I'm not a big fan of this at all. I don't mind heat. A couple days of heat and then a cool down. That's why I'm strategically going to position myself somewhere out here. Right? Those are flyover states, right? Well, those will be home maybe soon. I don't know. Nebraska, Kansas, I want 4 seasons. I don't care if it's brutally cold. I love the cold. I'm telling you. Good stuff. I like the 4 seasons. All right, moving on. Weather outlook here today, aside from the brutal conditions here in California. Little bit of thunderstorm activity across New Mexico, Texas, up into Colorado once again. Tornado potential, non-existent unless you look over here. Across areas of New Jersey and New York, 2% probability, nothing big. Looks like no major wind or hail events out there, just slightly elevated in those conditions there listed on the map. Tomorrow, a little bit less, but broader, less severe potential. Thunderstorm outlook, there you go. Nothing out here along the west coast, down into the desert. quite a bit coming in. New Mexico's probably green this time of year. Crazy. It's just too hot for me and dry. I do get some monsoonal moisture, but I like the, I don't know. We'll see. I haven't completely made up my mind, but I'm pinpointing somewhere out here in the center portion of the country. Nebraska, the good life. Kansas, beautiful area out there as well. I used to love, Texas is cool, but it just gets too hot, and they don't get the brutal cold. Well, they've gotten snow down here before. I've seen snow down to, where is it, the Gulf Coast area a couple years back, I think. So it can happen, but I want it happening when it's supposed to, every winter. But that's just me. All right, moving on. Australia. I don't think we have anything major going on out there in Australia right now, as far as earthquake activity goes. A couple smaller ones over the last week or so. Looks like a 3.0 back on the 18th. Was that another 3.0? Yep. So a little scattered activity. Australia doesn't just get, it sits away from the major plate boundaries for the most part. It's not sliced in half here like New Zealand is, or it doesn't have a major transform fault up here, such as California with the San Andreas Fault. So it's a little less active, obviously, but it still gets occasional earthquakes over there. All right. I am done talking for the day. I think I'm going to make it a pool day and maybe even a barbecue day. So we'll be back a little bit later on this evening. Friday. It is Friday. Enjoy your Friday, folks. Take care. We'll catch you guys later.